week we talked to Charles Webb, adaptive surfer and founder of StokedForLife.org. You won't want to miss it on the Rolling to Win YouTube channel, True Athlete Series.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You got me?
Right on. Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Doing good.
Right on. So, where are you at?
I'm in San Diego.
Okay. Right on, man. So, sunny San Diego. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's very sunny today.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's about 80 degrees here today, and
Where are you
I'm
at?
in Southern Virginia.
Oh,
Yep,
no.
yep. On all the way on the East Coast.
Nice.
Right on. So, let's see here. You just recently got married, right?
I did. Yeah, in Australia,
Yeah.
23rd of last.
Nice. Nice. So, how's married life treating you?
It's treated me better than well. That's for sure. Like that be committing crimes. Yeah,
Nice.
it's good. It's really good.
It's great to hear. It's great to hear. Yeah, I mean, if when you can find that partner, man, that's great. Uh, so where you been? What you been up to?
Just surfing and just building this tour and trying to find sponsors and doing the fundraising thing, it's a never ending quest for the dollar.
Right, right. I understand that. And you're running the Stoke for Life Foundation, correct?
Yeah, and also the adaptive surfing, the Association of Adaptive Surfing Professionals. We're
Okay.
Stoke for Life, that's a program under Stoke for Life, as well as the US Open Adaptive Surfing Championship. So it started with the US Open, and then we partnered with some other standalone events around the world and developed a competition committee and created a platform where we could, all have a professional platform to travel, from nation to nation or wherever it is. Right now, the tour consists of, we just did Australia in March. We're getting ready for Hawaii in May. And then in June, we go to Costa Rica and come back here in September for the US Open. So we've got four
Oh wow.
events. All those events give away
Yeah.
$30,000 per event. Plus the overall winners of the tour will split up a prize pool purse of about 50,000. So
Wow. Yeah, that's a big deal, man. That's awesome. That is
yeah.
awesome. So what are the spots in each country that
So
you're
in
hitting?
Australia, it was at Byron Bay. The pass was the break. So a super
Okay.
elite championship type wave. When we go to Hawaii, it's at Queen Surf Break, which is a beautiful wave. Very, world renowned. A lot of people surf that wave. When we go to Costa Rica, it is at Boca Barranca in Punta Arenas, and Boca Barranca is the second longest point break to Pavones. So I surfed a wave, I think, for 70 seconds in my heat. So I was
Oh
on one
wow.
over a minute. So it's a beautiful, beautiful left-hand point break that comes off a river and bends right into the bay. So it's one of the most elite waves in the world. And then we come back to Oceanside for Oceanside Pier. And this year we'll be on the north side of the pier, which is a really good wave and a great venue. They've held,
Gotcha.
past events there, the Stubbies. Supergirl Pros held there every year. It's the biggest women's WSL event. So it's, world-class waves all the way around. Great venues, great countries, great opportunity for adaptive surfers who, it's an underserved community. Sponsorship
Right.
wise, when, usually you go to an adaptive surf event, it's held at just not a very good break, and there's not a lot of opportunity there for, vision, to see what the adaptive surf community is doing and the way that the guys are surfing the waves and the competition that's happening in the waters is all of us have a story about how we got disabled or how it affected our life, our incident of impact, and how that affected our family and how we overcame that and how we discovered surfing. So there's a lot of inspiration to be had there, but ultimately for me, it's what happens in the water, and we want to create the best opportunity for to show that adaptive surfers are just surfers. Competitively, they're just competitive surfers. It's not about your disability or anything other than what you do when you're on a wave.
Right, right. That's kind of what I'm all about is, we're athletes. We're not just like wheelchair athletes or adaptive athletes. We're athletes. We have some things that hinder us in our normal daily lives, but other than that, we're athletes trying to get the win in, trying to get that victory or
Sure.
overcome what we need to.
Yep.
So what all goes into getting one of these events together for you?
Most of all, it's, permitting, sponsorship, you know, insurance. You got to get all the particulars out of the way as far as protecting yourself and the people that come, to the event. Ultimately, you want it to be a safe environment, and so you want to have water safety, and you want to have, you know, great opportunity for them to have some accessibility. So you got to get all the equipment. You got to get beach tracks and other Moby mats and things that can trek across the sand and give people good access. And then you ultimately have to have a professional setup. You have to have, electronic scoring and priority lights and, good PA system. And, you got to have all the particulars that a real professional surf event would have. So you have to partner with people that have that same vision. So for us in Australia, it was Mark Mono Stewart and his wife, Deb Stewart, and they've been planning the event for, I don't know, 5 years. In 2020, they were supposed to launch it, but COVID came out, and, Australia was kind of held back by COVID for a bunch of years. So they were just barely able to get their event up and running this year. They probably could have did it last year, but they wanted to make sure that they did it the right way, and they did it really the right way. It was a great event. 94 athletes from 17 countries. They gave away
Oh, wow.
34,000 US dollars. At an elite surf break that, you don't normally get to surf with just a couple guys in the water. The pass is probably routinely on a daily basis, probably the most surfed wave by, tourists and locals. So 100 people
Right.
out in the water every time you look at the surf cam out there. So to have it cleared of any public and to be able to just surf with adaptive athletes, 2 to 4 guys on a heat,
Mhm.
25 minutes a pop, it's unheard of. So it was a great opportunity
Wow.
for us to expand our wings and show, what professional adaptive surfing is capable of.
Sure. I've been wondering in some of this big wave stuff, like how a guy would even get out into the lineup and whatnot. So
Big wave surfing's a whole different animal, and you gotta have a different gear. You have to have,
right.
and we're not big wave. I'm not a big wave surfer.
Okay.
I would be what's called a small to mid wave specialist. I'm not, if it's over 5 or 6 foot, and it depends on where it is. In Hawaii, I can get away with it. Queens, I can get away with surfing some bigger waves, but
Okay.
because there's channels there but in Oceanside, it's a beach break, and there's no escape, and there's no safe
Gotcha.
spot. So for me, it's about 4 foot, maybe if on a really clean, super good day, maybe a 5 foot day for me. But my days of big wave surfing were only maxed out at about 8 foot. So
Okay.
up into the 10 or 12 foot range. It's for adaptive surfers. It's
Sure.
it's
Sure. I
hard
mean,
because
that's
you have
it.
to have people right there, hands on, to be ready to help you out. And so there's plenty of guys that do it, though. There's some big wave specialists out there that are adaptive, that are pushing the limits, but
Wow.
that's not kind of what the professional platform's about. It's more about,
Okay.
it's more about the structure of the wave, and is it a high performance wave, or is it, just a big wave? We're going for high performance waves that you can do many maneuvers on, and we want everybody to come out. So we want the novice athletes to start pushing their limits to get into professional adaptive surfing, and maybe some of the guys that only surf the amateur circuits, the ESA or the WSA or something like that. Maybe that they would come out and travel with the tour and see what it's like to be a professional athlete and go from spot to spot, and travel with that community. It's kind of whatever sport you're doing, whether you're a hand biker or whatever you're doing. When you
Right.
travel with your community, it's a different gig, it's a different vibe, and it's it's that camaraderie, and it's that feeling of acceptance and belonging and all that kind of
Hmm.
stuff that goes along with being a part of whatever it is, whether you're a Marine and you're in a special unit, or you're an adaptive athlete that's traveling with your community on tour. It's once you get that feel of like, okay, this is this is a real thing. It's really happening. They're giving away real money.
Mhm.
They're going to real surf breaks. They're giving us, exotic destinations.
Right.
Then you kind of realize, okay, we're at a different level than just doing
Right.
regional events and just doing your US nationals or whatever it might be, your East Coast nationals or your Hawaii nationals or wherever it might be. Every nation has their national event. Australia has one, and it's just kind of your guys in your country. But when you're opened up to guys from, Japan and Europe and just different countries, Australia, Wales, UK, that it's, you get a feeling of the
Right.
international vibe of adaptive surfing, and it's not just Southern California or, Hawaii or whatever your region might be. It's international and it's everywhere.
Sure. Wow. Wow. So how does a guy like how do you travel around? Are you responsible for everything or what have you?
No, I mean, we pitch a portion of the prize pool purse for the event to build. Each event is a standalone event, which means
Okay.
they're responsible for their own sponsorship, their own permitting, their own insurance. There's some prerequisites to be on the tour that you have to meet with water
Okay.
safety and priority and electronic scoring and professional judging. And there's a criteria that you have to meet to be on the tour. But
Okay.
you're responsible for your own, the ASP is not responsible for your funding. We do
Okay.
put a portion of, sorry about that. We do a portion of the prize pool purse to help them build their prize pool purse. So we normally bring in 15 or 20, 15, 10 or $15,000 for prize pool money that goes directly to adaptive athletes to help them, recoup their funding costs or, their travel
Mhm.
costs or their lodging costs or whatever that might be. But, to be a professional athlete, you got to be getting a paycheck. So ultimately, that's our goal, is to raise the prize pool money and get that up into the thousands of dollars.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, that's awesome. So what would a guy like that's just starting out, he's like, man, I really want to try this, or maybe he was a surfer before he got hurt and he's like, man, I've been scared to get back in the water. What does he need to do to get into it?
Well, first and foremost, he'd want to seek out some kind of foundation like Stoke for Life or, High
Mhm.
Fives Foundation or Access Surf or Life Rolls On, somebody that does an adaptive surf program that's surrounded
Mhm.
by people that are capable of getting you in and out of the water safely. So
Okay.
ultimately, you don't want to just jump in the water and be like, hey, I'm going to go surf and, end up drowning or getting pulled out of the water by the lifeguards or something like that. Ultimately, you want to be introduced to the water with people around you that are capable, that can give you a good experience, put you on the right kind of board, get you on a couple
Mhm.
of good waves. Of course, surfing, you're going to wipe out. You're not going to be in control of anything. You're only going to
Right.
be in control of what you can do in the water and how safe you can keep yourself and the team of people around you, how safe they can keep you. But ultimately, you're going out there to have some fun and not, think about, I got to not drown or anything like that. So, you're going into the ocean. The ocean is a live, living thing, and it, consumes boats and land and all
Right.
kinds of different things. So ultimately, you want to have a great respect for it when you go out to it and say, okay, I'm not in control. Let me make sure I'm safe. And then
Yeah.
ultimately, you want to have a good experience. And once you have a good experience, that, translates to, if you can have a good experience on the water and a live living thing that's moving and consuming and, where you're not in control of, and then you go on
Right.
land to the things that you are in control of in your life and your, it really turns into a quality of life thing where you're more confident in your abilities to cope with things and compartmentalize things. And so surfing, water therapy in general, ocean therapy in general, to me, whether you're swimming, paddling, surfing, just getting on the water with a single blade in a canoe or something, it's all translates to mental health and quality of life and healing. That's what we at Stoke for Life are projecting for ocean therapy, and that's what we see, and that's the kind of experience we want to give people. Is it's not just a, hey, let's go to the beach and have some fun. It's more of a like, hey, let's experience what the ocean's given us. Let's process that. Let's use it, that energy, and it's basically an exchange of energy. You're giving, you're receiving. So
Right.
and that can be a great thing. And if you get frustrated in the water and you're like, and I want to catch a wave, and you might find yourself not catching too many waves, but you know, if you wipe out and you just go, hey, that was kind of awesome, let me go experience something else, you know, let me try to get on another one. And then a really good wave comes to you, and that, you know, is the best wave you ever caught. And you're like, holy mackerel, like that was an awesome experience. And then you wipe out 3 more times and you come out of the water and go, yeah, I caught 4 waves and I wiped out on 3 of them, but wow, that one wave that I caught it was the best wave I ever caught, and it was incredible. Then you're forgetting about all the wipeouts, and you're just taking all that great energy that you just got, and you're taking that with you outside the water.
Wow. So could any level of injury get out there?
Yeah.
You know, what's some of the equipment that we have that could be used?
So you have water wheelchairs basically that are made by Access Rec that are, you know, not the tires float, the handbars float. So the tires sink down, but the handbars float, so you can comfortably wheel somebody into the water without the waves wiping you out, and get them out of the water and transfer on a board. Ultimately, you would have to, you know, whether you're surfing prone, I surf on a wave ski, so I sit,
Mhm.
kind of have to have that tailor made. You can sometimes find foundations that have boards that are kind of all around, like one fits all, you know.
Okay,
I
right.
think every adaptive program has that. We have prone boards that we can just basically put anybody on. They've got handles, they've got, you know, pads and stuff that'll keep you on the board. I have wave skis that pretty much will fit everybody. It's not going to be a custom fit like you want, but it, you know, you'll be able to sit in it and paddle it and catch some waves and experience what that's like, and then say, okay, now that I've surfed on a ski, let me go find a shaper that can shape me one, or, you know,
Right.
that I've surfed on a prone board, let me go find a shaper that's interested in shaping me one, or, you know, maybe buy one off of somebody that's close to your injury level, just because we might have the same injury level. We might surf in a different position. You know, I've
Right.
got, you know, paraplegics that have the same injury level as me or lower that surf prone, that don't surf sitting up. And then there's guys like me and Spike Kane and, you know, Mark Thornton, other guys that have higher level injuries that use backrests. You know, you got a whole plethora of different kinds of surfers. So it's all what feels like surfing to you, you know.
Okay, right.
I was a surfer before my accident. I surfed for many years before my accident, and I was a high level surfer. So for me, laying prone didn't feel, and nor did my injury really let me do that. I've got, you know, steel rods on my back like most people do, Harrington rods, but you know, my rods were in such a position that, you know, I couldn't really lift my head, and most pro surfers can't lift their head a lot. Some guys with lower injuries can lift their head and surf prone, but a lot of guys are surfing face down with a chin pad, you know, trying to maneuver their board. And that just, for me, it
Wow.
didn't feel like surfing. And I
Sure,
didn't
I
try
understand.
prone surfing, but I never tried on a prone board. I just tried on a boogie board and stuff. But
Right.
so I sat on a wave ski, it was instantaneously like, this is surfing. This felt like
Now,
surfing. It gave me the view and the feel of surfing. I could do hard bottom turns and aggressive top turns, and I could get in the barrel. I could do cutbacks off the whitewash. I could, you know, I could do the things that I did before surfing, you know, on a wave ski that translated to me as surfing.
right. That's awesome. That is awesome. We do an event up here. Well, I not really we, but it's called Wake the World, and they do it's adaptive skiing, but they have like a wakeboard that's really similar to your setup, you know. So I like to go up there with them. They're doing it in June, so that'll be a good time. Which
Nice.
I'm kind of landlocked where I'm at. A lot of lakes, but not the ocean. The ocean's 5 hours away, I think.
Well, the lakes,
Um,
that's where you can get into like adaptive paddle boarding, you know, with a
right,
single paddle, and I
right.
mean, one of my favorite things to do is single blade paddle and moving
Okay.
water and just being on flat water and just moving water. It's where I actually, you know, after I surfed for many years and I got my injury, I didn't go back in the water. I went back in the water on boogie boards and stuff like that, but I didn't surf for
Right.
over years until I met, you know, Steve Bainey and developed, you know, he put me on a wave ski, and but single blade paddling was where I discovered that. So somebody put me
Awesome.
on a paddle board, and I did a couple paddleboard races, and then I developed a lower to the water type of paddle board that could cover large distances. You know, I did Dana Point Harbor to Oceanside Harbor. I think it's 28 nautical miles. I did that in 9 hours, and
Oh wow.
that's open ocean paddling. So
That's
it's
getting that's getting your courage back and everything, isn't it? After the
it's,
injury.
you know, it's just having a relationship with the ocean. I just feel,
Right.
you know, I've always felt like I was a waterman, and yeah, I don't, you know, when I was able body, I was surfing some good big waves, and when I was disabled and early on, and when I started surfing in my 40s, I could surf bigger surf. I surfed some
Mhm.
5, 7, 8 foot surf, and I could get away with it because I didn't have not aggravated a bunch of my shoulder injuries and stuff like that. But
Right.
as I've gotten older, I heal slower and 56, and
Yeah.
I'm just actually healing from an aggravated injury I did a week ago today, actually. Just
Right.
out in the water, got caught inside, and having to hang on to my board kind of aggravated my shoulder injury, and I've been
Oof.
out of the water for a week, and hopefully in the next couple of days I'll be able to get back to doing some work. I wheeled about a mile and maybe a mile and a quarter yesterday, just kind of stretching my shoulder out, and there was still a lot of pain, and it's just being an adaptive athlete, it's not easy. It's
Right.
my shoulders were damaged in my accident, so they've been
Okay.
kind of roughed up since. And that's just the way it is. So some of us deal with different aspects of our injury, and you just got to kind of get around it.
Right. Right. So how long ago were you injured, and what happened? What level are you and all that?
I was
Yeah,
injured.
the story,
Yeah, I was injured in 1986, bro, and I was injured
Oh
on
wow.
a motorcycle. So it was a motorcycle versus a car. And
Okay.
I ended up underneath the back tire of a Buick Skylark, like I don't know, 63 or 65 or something like that. It was a real old metal car. So very
Right.
heavy. I didn't break my back, but I fractured my spine and pinched my spinal cord. And even though I haven't gotten any mobility back, I've gotten some sensation back. And
Mhm.
so yeah, I'm a T7/8 incomplete paraplegic, and I've been paralyzed for almost 40 years now, 38 years. So I
Wow.
was paralyzed before the ADA was in effect.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
which is an interesting thing, but yeah, it's been a long time, and I'm still very healthy. I've had a couple of setbacks. I just in September I had a flap surgery, so I had a skin issue that wouldn't go away for quite a few years, and it ended up being very painful, and inhibited me from going in the water, and basically stopped all activity in my life for about 3 years.
Wow.
At a certain level, I was able to surf and stuff periodically. Every once in a while I could ride my bike, but normally I would be surfing a couple times a week, paddling once a week, riding my bike a couple times a week, cross training, doing all three things within the same week. And I wasn't able to do that for quite a few years. So I'm
Wow.
just getting back to after September. It took me, I don't know, January, I got in the water for the first time. So I've just
Mhm.
been slowly kind of gaining ground on where I used to be. So I think at this point, barring this little shoulder setback that I have,
Right. Right.
I should be able to start doing, full training again. By the time I get back from Hawaii, I should be able to do all three in a week, and feel good about everything. And so I'm about 85 to 90 percentile of where I was 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm feeling
Wow.
pretty good. But at 56, I figure I lost a couple of years in there, just trying to maintain an injury, and not
No
really
doubt.
handling it the right way. So it's just kind of something, as a paraplegic, I think we all go through. Everybody goes through different. I've been super lucky and not had any skin problems throughout my 38 years of being injured, except for this one thing. It wasn't really a
Yeah.
pressure sore. It was just kind of some scar tissue that was, breaking open and tunneling in my leg, and just kind of weird. Doctors couldn't really explain it, but got pretty bad. So I had to have a flap surgery, and now I feel great. And was one of the best decisions I ever made. So it was a hard
Awesome.
process, and it took quite a few months, but I feel 100% now, and I'm super stoked.
Wow. So being you were around the pre-ADA days, that's so what is the difference now between, let's say, now and then, the pre-ADA versus today?
Well, in the United States, it's everything. It's
Right.
to go into every restaurant, every bathroom, every, and barring some of the old places that aren't still under code. And there's a few
Sure.
people that just aren't aware, or they don't enforce the code when they get their permitting or whatever it might be. But for the 99 percentile, it's been in the United States. It's great. And then
Right.
traveling abroad, there's countries like Australia that are catching up to us. In
Okay.
Costa Rica, they just passed a law, I think 2 years ago, that every sidewalk has to have a curb cut and every store has to
Oh,
have
wow.
accessibility. So going to Costa Rica was eye-opening because they were very accommodating as far as, you know, and some of the ramps are very steep, you know,
Mm.
it's not, you know, a 33 grade, whatever, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's like a 45-degree angle and it's like,
Right. Occasionally you see it's like a mountainside, you know, going straight up. This
but
is the
there's
wheelchair access beside the stairs.
yeah, but there's accessibility, and that's
Yeah,
ultimately what counts. Is there, you know, there's other countries that are catching on to this, and you know,
that's
traveling,
awesome.
going to Mexico a lot. Mexico's fairly accessible. There's parts of it that are totally inaccessible, but there's
Mhm.
parts that are very Americanized and that they offer a lot of, you know, accessibility. So, but for us in the United States, that it was everything, and it changed overnight for me living in San Diego. It was very
Mhm.
prevalent when it happened. It was everybody put it into effect as quick as possible, and all of a sudden there's accessibility everywhere. So it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So it went from not rocking to rocking and rolling all of a sudden, huh?
You know, it's yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say it wasn't. Yeah, it was. You know, it was
Yeah,
eye-opening for. You know, I couldn't imagine what it was like in the '70s. You know,
right.
it was rough enough in the '80s and the early '90s, but you know, in the '70s, you know, the guys that came before us, man, they laid the groundwork for
Sure.
us, and they
Yeah,
did
that's right.
work, and I didn't have to do that work. Somebody did that work for me, and I got the beneficiary of their hard work. So, you know, I don't ever want to forget the people that came before us and the people that did that work for us, you know, we're
Right. Right.
beneficiaries of that, and we have to, you know, acknowledge the work that was done, and the advancements for us that they sacrificed for. So.
Yeah, that's right. There's several people today that don't even think about that stuff. They think about the problems they're having more so than, you know, how great it is to have the life that you have here in America. I mean, I'm glad that I have hot water. You know what I mean? In other countries, they don't even have hot water to wash anything with or what have you.
Yeah, it's
And
you take those every day
it
for granted.
yeah, yeah. So you know, like if all you got to bitch about is parking, then I'd say we're doing something pretty good around here, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, there's some weird political stuff happening right now, and we won't get into that, but you know, we do live in the greatest country in the world, and we have the
Sure.
opportunity, and you know, show me another country that's you know, it's got a law that says you have to have a bathroom that's wide enough for me to go in. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
It's, you know, so that's for me, it's, you know, having traveled across the United States and going to different places and, you know, experiencing other places that, you know, in the country, they're not too worried about having a bathroom as wide, you know, but, you know,
Sure.
it's nice to go into metropolitan cities and populated areas where that's kind of the norm, and you can expect to be able to wheel into a bathroom and not have to pee in the parking lot or something like that, you know?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So what's your favorite place that you've been to, as far as, you know, like just all the options, accessibility, fun, etc.
Well, I mean, for accessibility, it's, you know, probably Hawaii is probably one of the funnest places I've went.
Hmm.
You know, just going to Australia, it was fairly accessible. It was amazing. It was beautiful. You know, I've been fortunate to go to a few places, and, you know, doing Stoke for Life and being able to service athletes abroad and going to Panama and, Costa Rica was, you know, these places there. I can't really pick one to say it's my favorite.
Hmm.
I want to go back to all of them, you know, and I want to
Right.
bring adaptive people, adaptive athletes to those places to experience the fishing and the surfing and, you know, the things that are you're able to do, the outdoor life that you can do there. You know, there's a lot of stuff that's abroad, and you know, I've been to Mexico a whole bunch of times on surfing and fishing trips, and you know, for me, fishing is one of the things that I think that a lot of the disabled community is not paying attention to, and
Okay.
trying to you know, introduce a adaptive fishing program. I know that High Fives has an adaptive fishing program, and they do a lot of freshwater fishing. I think they do a little bit of East Coast stuff, but we're trying to introduce a straight saltwater kayak
Hmm.
fishing program, and we've got a couple kayaks, and we'll introduce some athletes to that this year. It's new for us. We just got those in 2024, so We've taken them out a couple times, just paddling them around a little bit just to check them out. But now that it's springtime and the weather's clearing up and there's, just rained a couple days ago, but in between the rains, we kind of want to start taking the kayaks out and getting a couple of adaptive athletes out there and getting some fish and kind of open up that program and let everybody know that, just ocean fishing's a whole different subject. And
Yeah.
for me, it's a way of life. It's part of me, my waterman kind of lifestyle of, paddling and
Sure.
fishing, surfing. And, when I go to these places surfing, and just the last couple of years that I've been traveling and surfing, I've went to a bunch of these places where the fishing's really good, and I haven't crossed over and dabbled. This is just a surf trip, and it's kind of working and surfing and kind of competing
Right.
at the same time. But for next year, we're definitely counting in a few days of fishing, and so maybe in Costa Rica we'll be able to experience a little bit of fishing. But last year,
Nice.
we went there and we're like, oh man, I got to bring some poles next year, and so that's going to be the case in 2025. We're going to try to do a couple of good fishing spots while we're out doing the tour.
Nice. Now, is there anything on the East Coast for anybody out here?
Well, you have the Adaptive Surf Project with Brock Johnson and his guys. They're in, I believe they're in North Carolina. I'm
Okay.
sure that's where they're at. And they're amazing people, and they do stuff abroad. They've done some stuff in Puerto Rico, and they have an amazing program there. And they're not just doing adaptive surfing; they're doing some other stuff. So if you guys are
Cool.
interested on the East Coast, check out Brock Johnson and the Adaptive Surf Project, and connect with them, and they'll hook you guys up. And yeah, there's some guys in Florida. Shawnee Whitaker's got a surf team over there, and they kind of do a
Okay.
couple things. They don't have a program, but if you can connect with one of those athletes like Shawnee or CC Roberts or one of those guys, they have the Florida Adaptive Surf Team, and they're all hyped up to get people out in the water, and they got a little team of people that might be able to help you get out in the water. But if you're looking for a program, the Adaptive Surf Project is definitely the one on the East Coast that I could recommend.
Nice. Now, would they jump on the tour if they were good enough or what have you from the East
Brock's,
Coast?
yeah, Brock's been on the tour. Brock's a
Okay.
great surfer, and he's placed and won some money at the US Open, and he's won some money at in Hawaii. He's dominated and made a bunch of finals. So yeah, Brock's a threat in the assisted division for sure. He
Nice.
did come out on tour this year, at least at the first stop. I might see him in Hawaii. We might get lucky and see him at the US Open. But yeah, Brock is definitely a threat in that division. And when he's in your heat in that adaptive assisted division, I know those guys are looking over their shoulder and checking the scores.
Nice. So is the tour like, is it kind of like, see, I'm from Martinsville. We have a NASCAR track, so I'm familiar with NASCAR a little bit. It's a point sort of thing, and then at the end, you have the guy with the most points as the overall champion. Is that kind of how it works for that?
Exactly how it works per division. So we have 10
Nice.
divisions in the AS
Okay.
that are classified.
Okay.
And, you win each event, you get points, and you get your world rankings. There's it's just basically the same thing as the WSL. We have a real similar point system, and yeah, we took our point system from Grand Prix racing, so that's where
Okay. Nice.
adopted our point system from Grand Prix. And yeah, it's win your spot, and first through 10th place gets points, and after that you just you're just ranked tied for whatever place you're down there. But first through 10th place gets points, and first through 4th place gets money. So
Sweet.
yeah, and then the winner at the end, the overall points winner, which would be your world champion in those divisions, would get another bonus check. So
Okay.
a check per event, first through 4th place. And then at the end, if you're the first place winner, then you would get a bonus check. Your second, third, fourth, and fifth rankings for the world rankings at the end don't get a paycheck. Just the world champion gets that paycheck.
Right. Okay. And there's 10 divisions. What's the breakdown on that?
So it would be the sit wave ski division, men and women. It would be above the knee,
Okay.
upright, above the knee stand, below the knee stand, any kneeling position, upper limb stand. Then there would be sight impaired, so there'd be a low vision, and then a blind complete blind. I'm pretty sure. Oh, and then there'd be prone unassist and then prone assist.
Okay.
So that
Wow.
would
So that's something for everybody, really, isn't it? Like the
yeah, I mean, it's
amputee right to the C4, C5 guy even, huh?
yeah, that's
Or
the
less.
assisted
So
division comes in. It's Jesse Blauer broke his neck, can't use his arms. Claudio
mhm.
Morales. You got Jose Martinez, who's a triple amputee.
Wow.
You got guys that every walk of life or role of life, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever it
Yeah. Right.
is. You got people with CP, multiple sclerosis, like spinal bifida. You got the whole thing. Multiple, you got the whole anybody with any kind of ailment. There's a place for you in the professional platform, 100%.
Wow. Wow. Okay. That's awesome. That is awesome. Just, mulling through my head here, just the opportunities that there are for people in adaptive surfing. That's great. That's just fantastic stuff. So, well, how would anybody go about, say, getting in touch with you that wants to get out in the water here?
You can go to stokeforlife.org.
Okay.
So stokeforlife.org. And my phone number's on there, my email address. You can get us on Instagram at Stoke for Life. No D at the end of Stoke, just singular Stoke for Life. And you can check out the Adaptive Surfing Professionals on Instagram at Adaptive Surfing Professionals. And you can also go to the websites there. There's adaptivesurfingprofessionals.com, Association of Adaptive Surfing Professionals.com, US Open Adaptive Surfing Championships.com. It's got all the results for past years, galleries of surf event, couple videos. You can catch the world rankings on adaptivesurfingprofessionals.com. You can catch the Australian placements, what happened in Australia. And then the world rankings will always be updated on there per event.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So, and then this is something I ask everybody is, say the hopeless individual that's watching this, say recently injured or what have you, what's some advice that you give to them that's just starting out their journey post injury?
Well, first and foremost, I would tell you that you are still in there. Your essence, yourself, although you might think that like you're different, you're not. You're still you and all the things that you love to do, and all the things have not been taken away from you. Actually, you still have an opportunity to live a fulfilled, amazing life. And although the one thing that might have been taken away from you, there's 10,000 other things that you've just been gifted. So there's so much opportunity out there right now for somebody that's post-injury. There's so many organizations that are willing to help you. There's so many grant opportunities that you can apply for. There's so many sports right now that you can dive right into that will change your life and give you a better quality of life. There's return to dirt programs. There's adaptive snow programs. There's skiing programs. There's surfing programs. There's biking programs. There's mountain climbing. There's rock climbing. There's man, you name it. There's every program that you could think of right now that an able-bodied person can do. There's a program out there for you right now. It's never, and this is going to sound kind of screwed up, but it's the truth. It's never been a better time to suffer an incident of impact right now.
That's right.
A great quality of life and great things that opportunities for you right now. And I know somebody that might be just going, this guy's so full of crap, but it's the truth. And right now, there's so many opportunities out there for adaptive athletes and people that have just suffered an incident of impact that changed their life. There's amazing people that you can connect with. There's awesome, podcasts like this, what we're talking about right now, information just exchanging that I didn't have the opportunity to experience in 1986. So, if right now, if I would have said, would I want to be injured now like this or back in 86? This I would pick right now, because the technology to get you in and out of the hospital, in and out of rehab,
Right.
just those things right there are mountains, years and years ahead about where I was. And then the opportunities of, hey, pick up the phone and call or get on the internet and do some research, and you'll find so many programs, even small little local regional programs that are just so helpful for people to get out and start experiencing life in a chair. It's still out there, man. It's life still, I'm living my best life right now. I just got married. launched the tour, competing. I made the finals in Australia. I'm ranked 4th in the world right now at 56 years old, coming off a surgery, coming off an injury. You know, it's right now, it's like, it's the highlight of my life right now, you know, and I'm, and I've been injured for 40 years, you know, so
Wow.
right now is there's so many great chances to just better your life and lift yourself up, man. And, you know, don't give up. That's another thing I would say is don't give up on yourself, man. Give yourself the opportunity to succeed and give yourself a chance, man, because I thought that I had been robbed of all these things and all those things were still there. I had been robbed of nothing except for maybe running up and down some stairs. And that's about
Right.
it. Everything else, I've been able to exceed and, you know, even in a corporate working lifestyle, I worked a corporate job for 20 years and you could go work, you could go to school, you could go do sports, there's just so much opportunity right now. So don't let, you know, the small-minded thing that's obvious in front of you, that's I'm injured and all this woe is me. And you know,
Right.
rise above that, man. Be a champion for yourself and lift yourself up and look around and open your eyes and do the research, because there's no better time than now to help yourself. And there's so much opportunity out there to do it.
That's right. You can either be the hero of your story or you can live out a tragedy. I guess that you have the choice in that matter.
For sure.
For sure. Well, thanks for talking with me, Charles. I appreciate you, man.
John, I appreciate the time and thanks for taking the interest and giving us the opportunity to reach out to people, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope to get in touch with the East Coast fellas here, because the North Coast, my mother lives down in Morehead City here, which is right on the coast. Like I said, it's 5 hours away. I just hadn't been down there to see, but if they're close by there, that'll be a nice trip for sure.
Yeah, I'll send a flyer out to Brock Johnson. We call him the Brock Star.
Okay.
A flyer to Brock and try to get him in touch with you, man, and see what you guys can do.
Rock on. Sounds good, man. I appreciate you, Charles.
All right, brother. Have a great day, man.
All right, now you too. Bye.